Hello everyone, my name is Curtis, and today I want to do a review for Sistas Season 9, Episode 17. The episode starts off with Zach questioning Gary about his motives because he's like, the Gary that I've known throughout all of this time has always had some type of ulterior motive, so I'm just trying to figure out like what is going on. And so when it comes to Hayden, he does chime in, and he says, people normally act like this when they are sick, when they are dying. Like, are you on the verge of dying? Are you just trying to make good with God? Like, what exactly is going on? Fatima chimes in and she asks Gary what is his motive. And he's just like, look, I know that I've not been the best person. I know that I've been low down. I've been dirty. I've been despicable. But I'm telling you, I am a better person now. Zach is just like, I don't believe this shit. Do you all believe this shit? They was like, no, we do not believe this shit. And so Gary's just like, look, I was face to face with death. I realized that the way that I was living my life was not right. So I decided to do better because I realized that I've received a second chance in life. He then looks Zach directly in the eyes and he's like, you know what, Zach? I have a lot of gratitude for you because you saved my life. And Zach's like, no, 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 no. Wait a minute, no, I did not save your life. He's like, you did. He was like, no, I was trying to save Andy's life. You just so happened to be there. I was trying to save Andy. I didn't have any involvement with you being saved. It had nothing to do with you. It was strictly for Andy. Gary's just like, come on, man, you saved my life. And so Zach, he's starting to get fed up with this conversation, especially the part about him allegedly saving his life. So he's just like, Fatima, can I hit him? Just let me hit him one time. Fatima's just like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. Let's just look at this from all angles here. And let's also analyze his paperwork for a second. So she does look at the paperwork and she says, you know what? I believe that this is legit. And he's like, are you really buying what he's selling right now? Like, you actually believe it? She was like, I can look at this paperwork and tell that it's legit. And Gary's like, yes, everything is good. Everything is clean. And so Fatima says, you know what? I can actually draw up some paperwork to dissolve any business that you all have together. And so everything will be good. And Gary says, you know what? I am down with that. I will do whatever you say. We can get everything done. So while the three of them are having this conversation, Hayden's in the background like, so let me just make sure I have this correct. So Zach, he's getting this money. You're going to make sure everything gets dissolved. Everything's going to be good. It'll be clean, so good for him. When it comes to Gary, he's going to be able to go off scot-free. He's not going to get any trouble. Everything's going to be good. He's going to live his second life. Whereas with me, I'm not going to get anything. Okay. So when it comes to y'all three, get the fuck out of my house. In the next scene, we go over to Danny's house and she's sitting on the couch and then she decides to look on her coffee table. Remember, she put the envelope down that has some money in it. So she looks at the coffee table, she grabs the envelope and she looks inside and it's empty. So she's like, oh shit, I lost the money. So she starts looking around. And as she is looking around, Tony actually comes inside. And so she is looking throughout the couch. So she is kind of bent down. He smacks her on the ass. And she's just like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? He's like, I know you were not still mad about the loop. She was like, I am mad about that. But my focus is on something else right now. I actually lost my money. He's like, you did not lose it. She was like, look at this envelope. There's nothing here. I clearly lost it. He was like, no, you did not lose the money. I actually borrowed it. And I was just like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. I was thinking back to the previous episode. I was like, did Danny give him any type of indication that she wanted him to have some of her money? Did they have a discussion? But she's like, you know what? If you need some money, you could take maybe 1,000, maybe take $500. Did they have that discussion? And I was like, no, they did not have that discussion. So when it comes to this term borrowing, she did not let you borrow shit. You stole something. There's a difference. We then quickly flash over to Andy's place. She receives a call from Sabrina, and they have a conversation about the Sister Circle meeting. And so Andy is just like, I cannot believe that Karen is moving. So Sabrina's like, neither can I. Our little circle is getting smaller. And so Andy's like, well, you know what? It may get even smaller if Danny keeps talking shit. Sabrina was just like, yeah, she was acting like a. And so Andy actually cut her off. She's like, yeah, she was acting like a bitch, huh? She was like, well, no, not necessarily like a bitch, just a little abrasive. Andy decides to pivot and she brings out Dr. Vaughn. She lets Sabrina know that Dr. Vaughn is coming over. So Sabrina asks her if she plans to let Dr. Vaughn fuck. And so she's like, I'm not really sure based off of the things that Danny was saying during the meeting. And so she asks Sabrina if she feels like it's a bad thing for a woman to have a roster. So Sabrina's like, no, there's nothing wrong with having a roster. Like, why would you say that? So then Andy asks her if she believes that she is a hoe. Sabrina was like, a hoe? You? No, not you. I don't know. I don't know where you even get that from. No, not you. And so Andy was like, well, when it comes to Dr. Vaughn, do you think I should fuck him tonight? And she's like, well, I mean, that's not a decision for me to make for you. It's also not a decision for Danny to make for you. It's ultimately up to you. Like, if you want to fuck him, fuck him. If you don't want to fuck him, then don't. It's up to you. There was a quick scene after this where Karen went to the salon, and it just so happens that Pam and Maurice were there. And she tells him that she is moving to Seattle. She also tells him that she plans to sell the salon. She was curious if one of them wanted to buy it. They both say, unfortunately, we do not have the capital, so we cannot buy it. And then Karen tells them that she plans to have a gathering the following day. We then go back to Danny's place, and y'all, Danny is fuming. She tells Tony that he has officially lost his fucking mind. He's like, I do not understand why you were so upset about this. Like, all I did was borrow the money. She's like, no, 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 no. You did not borrow any money. You took the money without telling me. That means that you stole it. There's a difference. Stop saying that you borrowed the fucking money. You stole it. Tony is just looking at her. He starts shaking his head like, I cannot believe that you are making this such a big deal. Like, it is not that big of a deal. She tells him that what he did was some broke shit. He was like, broke shit? She said, yeah, that was some broke shit. He was like, first of all, I'm not broke. The only reason why I borrowed the money from you is because I'm currently negotiating my severance package. I'm not broke. Danny tells him that she does not care that he is in the middle of negotiating the severance package, and honestly, she doesn't care why he did what he did. All she cares about is the fact that he stole the money. And he's just like, are you really doing all of this over 10 racks? Like, you're essentially making a big deal over 10 racks? I said, hell yeah, she's making a big deal over 10 racks. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, this man is pissing me the fuck off. Like, if I was Danny, this is what I would do. I would get in contact with Tyler Perry. I will tell him that I would like to do a couple of appearances on Satima, so that way I can do a couple of scenes with Preston, try to win him back. You may have to fight Deja. You may have to get into a fight with Deja. But I feel like you may be able to beat her. You may be able to whoop her ass, right? And then bring Preston back over to Sistas, and then you two can live happily ever after. He has a whole bunch of money. You want to deal with this shit. Just contact Tyler and let him know. Danny tells him that she does not care if it was $1, $5, $10, 10 racks. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that he stole from her. Like, how could you do something like that? He's still trying to hold on to this borrowing shit, but she's like, no, you did not borrow anything. You stole it. So it's like, you know what? I was in a bind. So she was like, well, why were you in the bind? Like, what was going on? Like, did you have to pay child support or something? And he said, yeah. So she was like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. So you got this woman knocked up. You got her pregnant. She had your kids. And so you decided to take my money and pay your child support? And he was like, yeah, I paid some of it, you know. I did not use all of the money for the child support. I used it for something else. So she's like, well, what else did you use it for? He was like, I used it to pay off a gambling debt. And she's just like, really? So you mean to tell me that you were the VP of the airline a week ago? And I said, a week ago? Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Stop. So you mean to tell me that only a week and a couple of days have passed since the beginning of the season? Because if I recall correctly, the first 3 episodes were at the hospital, so that's one day. I believe they said maybe like a day or two passed between the time that Karen left the hospital. And then on episode 4, if I remember, that is when he quit his job. So you're telling me that within 17 episodes, it's only been a week and a couple of days? That is crazy. All right, y'all, so that was my rant of the day. Sorry about that. But going back to the episode, Danny's just like, so you mean to tell me that you were the VP of an airline a week ago and you were already broken in a bind? And he's like, listen, the money for the child support normally comes out of my check. I did not get my check, so the money did not come out. So I had to do what I had to do, and I had to borrow that money. And in regards to the gambling debt, I normally do not lose that much money. And then also, I normally can pay it, but I actually went over my spending limit. So unfortunately, I couldn't take any money out, so I had to do what I had to do. Danny calls him an addict. He was like, listen, I'm not no fucking addict. She's like, you are an addict. You're on a sinking ship, and I'm not going down with you. Tony is just like, so what are you saying? So she gets up, she grabs some of his clothes because the house is messy, by the way. So she grabs some of his clothes and then she walks over to the door. She opens the door, she throws his clothes out. He's like, Danny, what the fuck? And then she grabs his game controller and then he almost kind of like tackles her. She's like, get off of me. And then she throws it out of the door. She's like, you know, we need to go. So like, you know what, fine, I'll leave. And she's like, hold up, my key, get that key back. So it looks like he actually just threw it down on the ground. I was like, well, that's fucked up. And then he walks out and then she just closes the door behind him. We then go back over to Andy's house and we see that Dr. Vaughn has arrived. And so they start out by having small talk, you know, talking about what happened at work, talking about the fact that they got caught by Andy's mom kissing in the office. But it becomes quite clear that Dr. Vaughn wants to fuck. And so Andy's like, you know what? Let me change it to something more comfortable. And y'all, after this, there were a bunch of quick scenes, so you all know how I do. I try to group them together just to make them easy to talk about. So in the first scene, Sabrina invites Rock over. You know, they have a conversation and she says, you know, you have a special skill set that I'm not really used to. He's like, yeah, I can tell that you were not used to it, but I actually have something that can help you out when it comes to taking dick. And so he pulls out this little plastic bag and it has 2 pills in it. And I said, Sabrina, you better not take those damn pills. In the second scene, Aaron tells Karen that he had a conversation with one of his old colleagues who actually lives in Seattle, and he actually received a job offer, but the training starts in 1 week. And she says, you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm down with it. I'll be ready to move in 1 week. In the third scene, Andy returns because remember she said that she wanted to slip into something a little more comfortable, so she actually comes out in pajamas, and Dr. Ronald's just like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. And she's like, well, you know what, tonight I feel like we can just sit down, we could drink some tea, and we could talk about the case. He was like, the case? She was like, yeah, when it comes to Karen's case. And so she's trying to have this conversation. She's talking about Karen's like little support group. And Dr. Vani starts to yawn. She's like, is everything okay? He's like, you know what? I feel like we need to do like a rain check. Maybe we can try this another time. And so he actually gets up and he starts walking away. She's like, are you sure? He's like, oh, yeah. And I said, let me tell you something. I would never fuck with Dr. Vaughn again if I was Andy. You're not about to play me like that. That would be the last time we ever see each other. In the fourth scene, we go back to Sabrina's place. Her and Rock just finished fucking for the second time. Rock tells her that he needs to leave, and as he is leaving, Sabrina receives a phone call from Damani, who tells her that he feels like he made a mistake donating his sperm and that he wants her to destroy the embryos. And I'm just like, Tyler, let's have a conversation for a second. Sabrina has not had shit going on this entire season. You mean to tell me that you couldn't have added this earlier in the season? Why are we reintroducing this man now and introducing this new storyline right now? Like, come on now, man. This pacing is crazy. This throwing in these random storylines after the mid-season is just ridiculous. I understand they want us to get hyped for season 10 or whatever, but come on now. This could have been done a little bit earlier. In regards to the end of the episode, Aaron tells Karen that he loves her, he has room in his heart for every version of her, and that he wants to marry her. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you could, please like, comment, share, subscribe. That will be great. Hope you all have a great rest of your night. Hope you have a better rest of your week. Take care. Bye.